Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to start talking about no hand get-ups with no weight. We are putting this into a sit-up and get-up series of movements. A sit-up is really part of a get-up. Oftentimes people forget that and they perform sit-ups independent of the idea of actually getting up off the ground. We're going to start from the sit-up. We're going to put it into a no hand get-up and start building on that idea so people can see the point of doing all these various types of body weight, core, and hip mobility drills. Started from our ground position. This is a very common position in every culture, everywhere on the planet. Humans do this. They sit down on the ground. We want the distance between our feet to be about the distance between our knee and our ankle for the specific purpose that distance should lead us into this position, which is known as the shin box. This is normal human movement that we should all practice and recover over time so that our hips work correctly. If our hips work correctly, our core tends to work much better. That tends to eliminate a lot of low back pain for most people. Starting from our sit-up, body weight sit-up. Get down, pull the belly in. Take your belly button, squeeze it towards your spine as hard as possible. Get your lower back to connect to the ground first. Then you can let the upper body relax down. Start with our crunch. Classic thing that people do in the gym. The crunch is supposed to lead us to the sit-up. From the sit-up, we're going to get to our shin box. We've covered this in other videos. We're going to add one step to that. We're going to take this rear leg. We are now going to call this the lead leg. We are now going to call this the rear leg. And we are going to drive up, rear leg comes to the front. And we are going to end up in the bottom of something that looks a lot like a fold under hunter squat position. From here, get back. Take this knee, get it back to the inside instep of this foot. Point your knees towards the sky. Get all the way down. Don't slam your head into the ground. Activate the core, sit all the way up, shin box to one side, pause, sit in that hip, drive that down. Most people will feel a stretch in this rear knee. Extend the hips towards the sky. Take that foot, once again, instep of that lead leg is going to line up with that knee, and we're going to end up in this seated position with a vertical spine. If you are really crouched forward, or if your tailbone is off your heel, figure out how to sit down, stretch in this position if you need to, reclaim this range of movement, and then lift that chest towards the sky. When we get back, we could go up and sit back down, but most people will probably be able to just stay seated on that rear heel and get all the way back into our shin box position, point the feet straight ahead, get down, keep the back of the head from slamming into the ground. Let's demonstrate it on the other side very quickly. Get down, keep the head off the ground, sit up, get into that shin box. If you need to on the first couple of reps, drive with that hand to push that hip into the ground. Focus on the mobility of this hip, the rear hip. We're trying to get that sit bone flat on the ground. Drive up. If you have to, use a hand to help you up. Bring your leg around, instep of the foot equal with the knee, sit back. You will notice this side is not as good for me. I've had 3 major knee surgeries on this knee. What I need to do is sit down and lean back as far as I can to work on the mobility of my knee in this position. I'm going to ease up to take stress off the knee, get back to the shin box, sit all the way down, drive into the ground to push that hip into the earth, point my legs straight up, and do not slam your head back into the ground. Get up, go, drive, pause, push that hip down into the earth. Take a couple of seconds to let it mobilize if you have to. Drive your body up, hip extension, and foot forward, sit back, lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back. This exercise series is helping us develop coordinating our core with our hip. Most people might have a strong core and they might be really good at some basic hip extension exercises. What we are trying to do is put rotation back into that hip. This is all part of a no-hand get-up. People who do wrestling sports will recognize the need for some of these types of hip transitions, but everybody really needs it whether or not you practice wrestling sports. This is just returning our hips to the level of mobility that we had when we were young. If you go to other countries, mostly in Asia, where they practice deep squats all the time, and they don't sit in chairs that are about a 90-degree angle of the leg, they all maintain this level of hip mobility. Everybody in the Western world can also regain this level of hip mobility. We just have to take our time with it, pause in each position, and work on it slowly so that we can regain this natural, perfectly normal range of human movement.